Hey everybody, I recently released a video called the best solo dungeon build, covering what I thought was the best solo dungeon build in the one-handed spear after the Great Axe nerfs. However, this video got some pushback and some people were saying that the light crossbow is actually the best weapon to clear solo dungeons, including someone who even made a really weird video about it. Now originally I'd only heard about bolt casters as the other claim to the best, and I sort of shrugged that off because they're sort of obviously not at higher tier dungeons. However, the light crossbow, now that I think about it, I hadn't really thought about it before, and it actually seems like it might have some really good potential with that low cooldown AoE damage E and the sort of busted damage on the AoE Qs. So in this video, I'm actually going to go ahead and test it, see if the light crossbow is actually better than the spear. So I'm on the test server, so it's a nice controlled environment for us to run this experiment. We're going to go run the exact same build for both the light crossbow and the one-handed spear and go run tier 8 solo dungeons. Now there are so many variables in solo dungeons that it's really hard to get an accurate measurement of just how fast you're clearing, because it completely depends on the type of dungeon that you're doing, which rooms you get, the buff shrines, which bosses, how many floors, etc, etc. So I tried to make this as controlled as possible by doing 3 minutes with each weapon in 2 different types of dungeons: the Exalted Crypt Skeleton dungeons and the Morgana dungeons. For an indication of clear speed, I used fame or fame credits, so I tracked how many fame credits I started with before the 3 minutes and then how much I had after the 3 minutes. For any bosses, I just skipped them, and boss shrines I also did not take. If I got to a new floor halfway through the 3 minutes, I would just stop the timer until I had all my cooldowns back up and then restart it. These were the results that I got. Averaged between the 2 different types of dungeons, the light crossbow got me 116,331 fame credits, and the one-handed spear got me 115,315 credits. So effectively, they cleared pretty well the exact same speed. However, there were some limitations to this experiment. First and foremost, I am definitely 100% more comfortable in clearing solo dungeons on one-handed spear, as I've done many hours of that, versus the light crossbow, which I have never used before. This means that we can reasonably expect the numbers for the light crossbow to go up a little bit, or the spear numbers to go down a little bit if we sort of level the experience between the 2 weapons. Second, the light crossbow, due to the way that it clears the dungeon compared to the one-handed spear, is going to scale better. The higher IP you have compared to the dungeon that you have is going to benefit the light crossbow more than it will the spear. Lastly, what I was using was a pretty generic solo dungeon clearing build, similar to the Great Axe, the spear, and the light crossbow. However, depending on the weapon, you could probably optimize the build to fit it better. For example, the light crossbow might work really well with a druid robe, as it can stack up those stacks very quickly, whereas something like the one-handed spear doesn't really get as much value from it. This leads me to believe that the build that I used was slightly more optimized for the one-handed spear than it was for the light crossbow. So my conclusion is that I was wrong. I think the light crossbow is actually just a little bit better than the one-handed spear for clearing dungeons. How significant is that difference? I don't really know. My tests were there around the same, light crossbow coming up a little bit better, but with the limitations in mind, who knows how big this gap could actually be. My guess is that it's quite small, but if you're trying to really optimize your dungeon clearing, light crossbow probably is the way to go. Now just quickly before this video ends, I wanted to give a quick shout out and thanks to all the people that reached out to me and told me that light crossbow might actually be better. You guys are really what allowed this video to happen and allowed me to get the correct information out to my viewers, so thank you. If you ever notice a mistake or have some helpful feedback about one of my videos, please feel free to leave a comment on any of my videos or go to my Discord and chat with me there. It helps me become a better content creator, so I always appreciate it. Anyways, that's it for this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.